Hello, my beautiful people. Hope everybody's having a great day. These Battlefield 6 leaks are definitely getting out of control at this point. I'm not sure who they're bringing to do these play tests because they need to definitely rethink who they're bringing out and allowing people to play their game because clearly there are some issues with it. Nice, got him with some M16. I figured since we're talking about some Battlefield 6 leaks and how much that game does resemble some of the older Battlefields like Battlefield 4 and then Battlefield 3, figured it'd be a good idea to hop on, play some Battlefield 4, play a little hardcore. Don't worry, I got you, buddy. It definitely feels like at this point, though, these leaks are somewhat deliberate because there's just been so many of them, but they are getting taken down, so I guess they can't be too deliberate, but it is just insane how many leaks we're getting about the new Battlefield game. I don't think there's ever been as many as there is with any other Battlefield game coming out. Okay, that was quite the spawn, wasn't it? Now, of course, I can't show any of the footage. Definitely don't want to get a copyright strike. But I do want to talk about some of the footage I've seen, and probably most of y'all have seen if you've been on the internet recently and just, kind of looking for this stuff. But I do want to say take everything with a grain of salt, even though this is video footage. A lot of stuff is definitely going to change from now until launch. Okay, I guess I look like a dead enemy probably here, don't I? Yep. That's definitely what's happening right now. Oh my gosh, there's so many. There's a green laser on me. Hopefully it's my teammates. I believe it is. But the biggest thing that stood out with the video footage we've seen is... Wow, we couldn't get that kill. But it definitely is the map really resembling a lot of Battlefield 3. And I think the big reason it resembles so much of Battlefield 3 is really just the aesthetics of the map. It's kind of a rougher environment like we do see on Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3. Definitely, you get the feel of a war zone happening, and with 2042, we just didn't get that. I've said this before, but everything just looked too clean and put together and not enough destruction. Oh, nice, we got him with the last burst there. Thought I heard a parachute. And also with these maps, the flag placements and objective placements so far look right. I feel like in 2042, it just didn't make a lot of sense with some of the placements. Some teams can get the objectives quicker than others, and it really just threw off the whole flow of the game. But on the footage we have been seeing from the leaks, it does look like the flag placements are kind of in the right spots you would expect them to be. There's not going to be an advantage from one side or the other. So definitely looking like your traditional flag placements that we have seen in the previous Battlefields, where they just make a lot more sense. No way, let's go. I thought I seen him through the bush there. Oh, I tried getting you, buddy. Sorry about that. I thought I seen him through the bush there, and I actually did. Oh my gosh, that is a dirt bike. I was not expecting that. With the recent footage we've seen, we have seen a ton of jet gameplay. And with this gameplay, I will say it looks a little bit rough, but you gotta think this is alpha footage. So there's a ton of time to do some polishing. And Battlefield really always does answer the call when it comes to vehicle gameplay. They absolutely nail it out of the park. I've never played any other FPS game that just feels as smooth in vehicles like Battlefield. But definitely from a visual point of view, of course, there are still some textures that need to be filled in, but that is just because this is alpha footage. But if we look at some of the effects from the jet, I see a little bit of a stream coming off the jet, which just makes sense. I like little details like that, and I'm sure in 2042 we had, jet streams and stuff like that, but small details I feel like we're missing a lot from 2042. So if we can go back to some of the older Battlefield, paying attention to smaller details always matters and definitely makes a difference. Enemy right here. Nice, I got him. He definitely had the drop on me. I thought he was going to kill me there for a second. Kind of street there. I missed my shots. There we go, G18 for the win. Love this secondary. But definitely the biggest thing that stood out to me in the gameplay was the sound design. With the jets, it just sounded so much like these older Battlefield games. And I don't know why, because I feel like over the years, the sound designs, definitely for modern shooters and modern vehicles we've seen in these Battlefield games, they have changed a little bit. But as soon as I heard the sounds of the jet, the guns, the flying around, it just sounds so much like the older Battlefield games and gave me such nostalgia. Oh, he dropped down at the wrong time there. Of course, I mentioned the game resemblance so much of Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, but that's definitely what they're going for, because 2042 was just not perceived well at all, for clear reasons, because the game came out in such a terrible state, but it did rectify some of those mistakes over time. But our voices was definitely heard loud and clear, so I feel like they're making such an effort to go back to so much of what we've seen in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, which is definitely the smart thing to do. And to me, it's definitely the right direction to go because they need a good game in such a bad way, and this is definitely the way to do it. Man, there's always somebody here in this alley back here. I just heard a parachute somewhere. A little bit nervous. There he is. Man, what a flick that was. You gotta give me some credit there. Nice, we got him. Let's go. Guy back here as well. Nice. Not doing too bad. Kind of blending with the shadows there a little bit. Oh my gosh, they're just everywhere right now. And to me, out of all the footage I've seen, the biggest takeaway is we do see a soldier with an RPG shoot a helicopter. But before, in previous Battlefields, we'll see somebody shoot a helicopter. Helicopter explodes in the air. End of story. But in this case, the helicopter got hit. The soldier did get the kill, but the helicopter actually crashed first and then exploded, which I think is just amazing. I love seeing that. I think allowing the helicopter to crash first, it's definitely going to lead to a lot more destruction, a lot more immersion, and definitely a lot more cinematics in the game. So I can't wait to actually see that in real time in the game and see how it's going to work out. At least from the gameplay, it looks pretty cool. It looks, I don't know, it just looks like a movie at sometimes, which is definitely the feeling I want in a Battlefield game. Nice, got that guy right there. Somebody behind me. Oh, I got taken out. I definitely do recommend checking out my last video when playing some Battlefield 1. But kind of talk about immersion a little bit. Battlefield 1 is just so immersive and cinematic. Definitely one of my favorite Battlefield games when it comes to those areas. So to me, there's definitely a fine line, but if they can stay in between immersion and then not taking too much control, definitely be a good Battlefield game. Oh, what a headshot that was. We did get a nice little map change here, playing some Operation Firestorm. Such a classic map. And there has been some rumors about this map coming to Battlefield 6, which is definitely a good thing. Absolutely love this map. It was first introduced in Battlefield 3. Then it was introduced into Battlefield 4, so hopefully we can see it into the next modern shooter with Battlefield 6. It would definitely be a good thing if we could see a ton of these older maps added in, but I do want to see some original Battlefield 6 maps, especially. Oh, we just barely got him. I missed a ton of shots. One last thing to take away from the footage we've seen, our dog tag takedown animations are back, so no more of those cheesy animations we've seen in 2042. Hopefully not, but so far I haven't seen any. It looks more like the traditional takedown animations. Me personally, I always do prefer a little bit more realism in these Battlefield games, which even though these are not the most realistic FPS games, but I'm kind of tired of seeing these cheesy animations, honestly. So going back to the classic takedowns, grabbing dog tags, definitely in favor of that. Well, that's going to do it for the information we have seen from some of this Battlefield 6 Elite gameplay. It is crazy to think that this gameplay is making it to the public's eyes just so easily, but definitely let me know down in the comments below if I missed anything, and if you liked the video, please subscribe.